St. Sports Central will be going over a college football game preview and prediction on the game coming up in the SEC in Week 14, and this is going to be between Vanderbilt and Georgia, two teams of which who have had very different seasons. On one side, you got Vanderbilt, who's still trying to get their first win as they're 0-8 right now. Meanwhile, for Georgia, they're 6-2, and they're looking at a possible good bowl game coming up pretty soon. So Georgia's trying to win out from here on out, and I think Georgia could easily make it to a good bowl game. I mean, who knows? Possibly they can make it to the SEC championship as well. They just got to hope Florida loses their next couple of games here. But Georgia, this is going to be an important game for them nonetheless. We're going over a full game preview and prediction on this one here today, starting out with your team trends. And Vanderbilt lost to Missouri in a terrible game last week. 41-0 was the final score there. Vanderbilt did not even get a field goal up on the board last week to a Missouri team who's really been less than mediocre. So that is not a good sign for Vanderbilt coming into this matchup. But for Georgia, they beat up South Carolina 45-16 last week. Big win there for the Bulldogs. South Carolina really never stood a chance from the start. Winning streaks of both these teams. Vanderbilt is 0-8 with an 8-game losing streak. And then Georgia is the 9th-ranked team in the nation, according to the AP poll, with a 6-2 record and a 2-game winning streak. So really, I mean, once again, both teams are really on different trends right now. Georgia's trying to build back up after taking a couple of losses in the early parts of the season. Meanwhile, for Vanderbilt, they're still trying to get their first win of the season. This game is on Saturday, December 5th, 4 p.m. Eastern in Athens, Georgia. So the Bulldogs will be your home team. Spread currently says Georgia by 35. ESPN FPI's got Georgia 98%. And the Vegas prediction is also going with Georgia. Not much of a surprise there, 42-13 being the current projected final score. Here's your second person for this game as well. Vanderbilt's got 14 points per game, 36 points allowed per game. They got 217 pass yards on average, 115 rush yards. And then for yards allowed, they got 292 passing and 188 rushing. That's for Georgia. They got 31 points per game, 20 points allowed. They got 224 pass yards a game, 172 rush yards. And then for yards allowed, they got 262 passing and 75 rushing. So for Georgia, I mean, they've got a great rushing defense, one of the best in the SEC, one of the best in the nation for that matter. Obviously, by only allowing 75 rush yards per game through 8 games so far. So that's a very impressive stat out of Georgia so far. And for Vanderbilt, that's pretty bad news because they're not going to have a lot of leeway trying to rush on this really good Georgia rush defense and this defensive line out of Georgia in general. I mean, they've got a very good defensive line this season. And for Vanderbilt, I mean, they're more of a passing team anyway. They've got over 100 yards more passing per game than rushing, but still, it's just going to be a tough game offensively, I think, for Vanderbilt. I mean, this Georgia defense has been very good all season, and it's been more of the offensive part for Georgia this year that's been kind of the rough side because, I mean, you've kind of had a mix-up between the quarterbacks there, but JT Daniels has been very promising through his first couple of games, so definitely watch out for him in the future. I mean, Stetson Bennett, I don't really think we're going to see him for the rest of the season. It's probably going to be JT Daniels for the most part, but JT Daniels, I think he was supposed to be the starter at the beginning of the season, if I'm right. It was just he was injured, so he really couldn't play. But, I mean, yeah, he's definitely played very well through the first couple of games. So that's very promising for Georgia fans. Some key points for this one. Georgia's back on the rise, no doubt. Vanderbilt is still seeking a first win. Not a really good feeling when you're still in December trying to get your first win. But Vanderbilt is still on the track for that. But Georgia, I mean, if we're honest here, I'm pretty sure we all can say, whether you're a Vanderbilt fan or a Georgia fan, that Georgia's more talented and they've got a brutal defense here. I mean, Georgia's defense has been very good all season, and this is going to be a big part of it. And the thing is that's kind of scary about Georgia right now is they're starting to get an offense going. Their offense is starting to really get some good rhythm going, and I think Georgia's a scary team moving forward. Even though they've got 2 losses, I think Georgia's starting to get things figured out. This offense is really starting to click, and this is going to be a dangerous team moving on forward. But how each team would win in this situation, I mean, if you look at Georgia, if they just start fast, get a couple of touchdowns up in the first quarter, a couple more in the second, if you can be up by 3 to 4 touchdowns at half, I'm pretty sure Georgia's got the game sealed. But as for Vanderbilt, I mean, you got to do pretty much the opposite. You can't let Georgia get up on you. I mean, Vanderbilt's going to have to start quick on themselves because, I mean, considering they didn't score a single point last week against Missouri, I mean, you got to score a point early here against Georgia if you're going to want to even keep this thing close, which in the end, I just don't think that happens. I do think we see Vanderbilt score a field goal in the first half, but Georgia's going to take off to a 21-3 lead at the half. But in the final, Georgia's going to go to win easily here, I think. 42-6 is going to be the final score, and honestly, I could predict 50 points for Georgia in this game if I really wanted to. I think Georgia should absolutely blow out Vanderbilt in this situation. Like, I've got Georgia winning 95% here. I just think, I mean, the Bulldogs are way more of a talented team, and JT Daniels is really starting to fit in well with this offense, and this offense is starting to really work well together. And I think, honestly, yeah, Georgia could lay 50 in this game, but I just decided For a prediction, I really typically don't go into the 50s because that would be more of a push to say that, because most teams hardly ever can get up into the 50s. But in this situation, it wouldn't surprise me a single bit if we saw Georgia hit 50, plus maybe 60 here. I mean, Vanderbilt is just a terrible team, and if Vanderbilt got shut out to Missouri last week, yeah, I'd be pretty worried about this game for them. But in the end, that wraps up this preview and prediction. Let me know your thoughts and comments below on this one. Let me know your score predictions, all of that down in the comments. But then again, thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed this preview, slap a like on it, subscribe as well, as it really helps with the channel, and I'd really appreciate that. But as always, thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central, and we'll see you all later.